What's the inspiration for this film?
I had this idea like about these like people being like chased around like a rural part of America, like like West Virginia or something for a while, but I couldn't really make it fit in the U.S. Like it was like it was either going to be zombies or like escaped lunatics, and I just didn't really think that I just didn't want to go there. And then one of the co-producers of the film, friend of mine, Asian American filmmaker named Ann Liu, told me about this opportunity that was happening in China, and she wanted me to write a horror film to do in China. So I was like, immediately I was like, oh, this idea would perfectly fit in China because China is like just completely unknown to Western audiences. So it's kind of like this, you can make everything up. You know what I mean? So I set the film in China, and I did some research about the Hungry Ghost Festival and the whole Seventh Moon mythology, and I knew that that's what I wanted to use. And then the rest was I just made up a bunch of crap, and and then we wrote the script.
So tell us, because for people that don't know, what is that? I know it is a myth.
The seventh moon is like it's the seventh month of the lunar calendar, and there's a thing called the Hungry Ghost Festival, which is like the Halloween, lasts like 3 days, and they basically put offerings out for ghosts, and the whole thing is that Buddha opens up the gates of hell, and all the ghosts come out. So it's kind of a creepy thing, but people put out like offerings out, like candles and like.
Everybody does this. I mean,
I don't know if everybody does it, but a lot of people do. I mean, there's like a festival, and so that's where the film takes place. But yeah, all that is true. And then supposedly the ghosts come out and grab. You're supposed to leave it out there so they won't bother you. So I kind of took it a step further. I figured, well, if in the cities they just put candles and stuff, then in the country maybe they put people and animals, and it gets a little more crazy. So that's kind of where the idea and how it escalates as they move further into the countryside.
And what was it like filming there? What was that like?
Hong Kong. We shot it in Hong Kong because we couldn't have shot it in mainland China because they wouldn't have approved the script because they don't believe in ghosts over there. But Hong Kong was amazing. Hong Kong was really cool. It was like I had never been over there, and so getting used to the crew was kind of tricky, but everybody's very cool, and the way the crews work there it's completely different than the United States. It's more like a film school mentality, like everybody kind of pitches in to do everything, when something needs to be done. I mean, there are departments and there are specific duties, but mostly it's like if something needs to be moved, you got everybody out there, the hairdresser. I mean, it's just kind of a crazy thing. So that took getting used to. And then 95% of the crew didn't speak English, so we needed translators, and yeah, it was just like a lot of pointing. No, we had a translator who kind of was like by my side all the time, and most of the key people knew at least half English. So, but it was very difficult sometimes. Sometimes you'd tell them something and they'd be like, okay, and then you were like a minute, 10 minutes later, you're like, no, you obviously did not understand what I was trying to tell you, and you had to re-explain it, and it was difficult, but it was cool. I loved being over there. I mean, the shoot was very difficult. It was a night shoot, like 5 weeks of night, and in the middle of like nowhere in Hong Kong. And Hong Kong is like very populated, so like the middle of nowhere is like literally like here's a field, and then you turn this way and there's like a high rise, so it was had to be very controlled. Yeah, I mean, we shot in this one field where we shot like I don't know, a big chunk of the movie. And it was literally like this field with like some hills, and then over the hills there's just this huge city. We had to like paint it out of a bunch of shots. Huge skyscrapers, So that was a challenge, but it was great. I took my family over there. We were over there for like 3.5 months, and it was the most amazing experience. And I would go back there. I would totally go back there to shoot another film. Absolutely. Now I know more, and I would adjust things accordingly. But yeah, I would definitely shoot there again.
And do you think, I mean, I know because of the Blair Witch Project, you always had an interest in, I don't know what you would call it, yeah.
Scary stuff?
Scary stuff, or ghosts, or what's that interest?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been fascinated by ghosts, and like UFOs and stuff like that. I mean, that stuff, and Bigfoot, like that kind of stuff. Yeah, Bigfoot. That kind of stuff just scared the crap out of me when I was little, and it still scares me. Like even now, like if I'm if I'm watching TV by myself or in one of those UFO documentaries or like a report, it still creeps me out. But I was really never like a horror buff, you know. And I mean, I like horror movies, but I don't really have any specific genre that is my favorite. But now since Blair Witch, I'm kind of, I wouldn't say stuck, but
I was going to say, is that kind of hard?
it is.
That was such a
It is hard.
as far as what it
It is,
achieved in film.
yeah. Well, it's very hard to follow it up. I mean, obviously, I'm very grateful for the fact that it gave me a career and it allowed me to continue to make films. But at the same time, it's a hard film to follow up, you know. But at the same time, it's like you have to. I'm the same filmmaker I was before Blair Witch, so I just got to keep going and see what the hell happens. But yeah, it's difficult. But I'm not really, I'm stuck and I'm kind of want to get out. But so I'm kind of doing some things that are.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's next?
I have 3 scripts that I'm working on right now with a couple by myself and then one with a co-writer. And one's like a crazy comedy, very low budget comedy, and one is a social thriller that I'm really excited about. I think we can get made. And then there's another just straight out slasher genre, very violent, crazy, but with a cool twist. I don't really want to say it, but it's a very cool looking. It'll be a cool looking movie. And that's kind of what I have on my plate right now. So we'll see what happens next.
And then what about budgets, right? Because how is the budget for Seventh Moon verse doing?
Blair Witch?
Yeah.
Well, it was like
So it's
a ridiculous amount
yeah.
of more. I mean, we could have done 1,000 Blair Witches or whatever. I don't know how the math works out, but yeah, we could have done a lot of Blair Witches with this. Blair Witch, and I'm not opposed to like this comedy that I'm writing. I want to make it for like a couple of $100,000 if I can, like very very cheap. Yeah, well, it's kind of like the comedy kind of lends itself to a very low budget, like a very cheap look, you know. So I'm not opposed to that, you know. But yeah, Seventh Moon was definitely a much higher budget film. We had to go to Hong Kong. We had a bunch of people in makeup. We had some effects. We had Amy Smart, and we had some expenses. So it was a different kind of film. But at the same time, we try to keep our budgets as low as we can, you know, because it makes better business sense, you know, that way.
Well, thank you so much
you.
for talking to us,
Thank you,
and we can't wait to
appreciate
see it.
Yeah.